Hey, I'm Angie Rose with Angie Rose Health Coaching. So, hey, I am here today with week 3 of Mastering Your Diabetes and Pre-Diabetes. So we're at that halfway point, guys, of our 4-week program, our group coaching program. So I hope up to this point you have already learned some things, have already been implementing some things, and are starting to see some subtle shifts, if not good big shifts, within your diabetes and your blood sugars and all those kinds of things. You know, so up to this point, we have talked about what are blood sugars, how do they work, how does food affect them, and we've talked about the difference between type 1 diabetes, type 2 diabetes. Also, what are some symptoms that you may not have even realized are part of your diabetes issues, okay? So hopefully you're able to tune in a little bit better to your body, to what's going on with your body, as well as your appetite, your thirst, all those kinds of things. I know for a fact that if you will continue to do this, what you're going to see happen is it's only going to get better and better. You're going to become more in tune with how your body's responding when you skip a meal, when you overeat a meal, when you have too much sugar, all those kinds of things, okay? So, last week we talked about creating and balancing your plate and the glycemic index. I know that for most people, when they're trying to figure out how to eat, what to eat, how to put those things together, this probably is the hardest piece to get in place. But once you do it, if you take the plate method that I talked to you about and really incorporate this into every single meal, what you're going to find happening is it's going to get easier. You're going to ask yourself, what's my protein? What's my fat, my healthy fat? What's my fruit or vegetable that I'm consuming? And if I am having those starchy carbs, what is that 1/4 of my plate that I'm filling in order to have that, and doing it within moderation as well as portion control? So I know that I gave you a ton of information the last 2 weeks. I got 4 weeks, four weeks to teach you. Now, of course, doing one-on-one with me, we can really break those things down. So if we get to the end of this 4 weeks and you're like, Ange, I really need more in-depth, like step-by-step for me and my lifestyle and the things that I eat and keeping myself accountable, then get a hold of me and do my 1 hour free. Come in and talk with me about working with me one-on-one, at least for 12 weeks, to get that stuff under control and really figure it out for you, okay? That's always going to be an option. Now, if you're not in Grand Island, we can do everything online just like we're doing right here and help you out. I can email you, send you stuff, do all the things that I need to do, but it can all be done online. So that's the beauty of that. So hopefully you guys went back and took a look at all that stuff, read through it, started to implement it. I'm also hoping by this point, you guys, you're using the menus. Like, that is a big deal. It's going to automatically help you right off the bat by following a menu plan, okay? Because it's done for you with a high protein diet with a little lower carb, as well as good healthy fats, all built together into that plate to help you to feel full, to get your cravings under control, and to help balance those blood sugars out throughout the day so that we're not having highs and lows and feeling hangry or lethargic or all those kinds of things, okay? I know I've said that all kinds of things a lot in this video already today. So the other thing we talked about last week, I believe, is my rule called no carb stands alone. And understanding, for most people, they don't really understand that carbs are not all bad, that carbs themselves are all fruits, all vegetables, all grain products, and that we can't well, you could if you want, you can throw them all out, but I don't want to live my life never eating a carb. Not gonna lie, I kind of like them. They're a good source of energy, they help me out tremendously, and they taste really darn good. Okay, And I don't want to just eat meat and vegetables for the rest of my life. Even though I love it, I love meat, I love vegetables, I like variety. And that's the truth, is you can still have grains, you can still have variety as long as you're balancing your plate really, really well. We talked also about supplements for blood sugars. So if you're someone who is pre-diabetic, but not necessarily on medication at this point, you can do some natural supplements like berberine, cinnamon, chromium, those sort of things to help you with balancing those blood sugars right off the bat and getting those coming down a little bit long term. And that you're going to want to research a little bit, obviously, because I'm not working with you one-on-one. I can't give you numbers and how much to use and what to do, but there are other things out there that you can do. A lot of times, like one of the supplements I sell in here is called glucostasis. It is a mixture of chromium and berberine and cinnamon and some other things that help. So sometimes we just need a little bit more than one. Maybe the cinnamon won't work for you, but something else will. Okay, so just be aware of that. Now, today I want to talk with you a little bit about the protein portion guide that I gave you guys, because protein is probably one of the hardest things for most people to get in when they are trying to change the way they eat away from a standard American diet or junk food lifestyle, because most proteins are not super readily available. They're very, very much something you have to be aware of, you have to plan for, and a lot of times you have to cook for. Not always, because I've given you some things that you can do, but it's good to know what a portion looks like, and that's what this is going to show you here on what we're eating. So the thing that I teach my one-on-one clients is that there's protein in just about every food, but we want the biggest bang for a buck for the least amount of calories. So what I mean by that is, I need a drink of water. I'm sorry. Let me grab my water here. What I mean by that is that I want the most food for the least amount of calories with the highest grams of protein that I can get. Okay? That's always my goal there. So when we think about this, I always tell you guys, or my clients that I work with, eggs, fish, and seafood, or animal and fish, is what you're going to see on this first one, is always going to be your best choices and your best bang for your buck. Okay? You're going to get, you can eat actually more. Okay? But this is giving us a baseline. This is saying about 3 ounces of protein. Okay? 3 ounces of protein are going to be anywhere from 14 to 26 grams, 26, 28, depending upon what you're getting per 3 ounces. Okay, so this is my baseline. I want you guys to write this down. This is not necessarily on this sheet. This is what I teach my clients, is that every time you eat, breakfast, lunch, and dinner for sure, you should be getting at least 15 to 20 grams of protein per meal. Now with that, that means that's the bottom line. It doesn't mean you can't have more. I truly shoot for 25, 30, 35 grams if I can, because I fill up on protein because I know that it makes me feel better, okay? But your baseline is you have to have at least 3 to 4 ounces of protein every single time you eat, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. These meal plans are doing that for you already, okay? So when we look at animal, eggs, and fish, chicken breast is going to be one of your best. Now, let me just say, hamburger isn't really on here. Ground beef and steak are very high as well. Okay. So, but this list doesn't mean beef and because you see steak on here. Ground beef is okay. This is not like a list that's saying this is all you can have. You can't have pork. You can't have beef or ground beef. You can't have, it's not saying that. This is just giving you some examples of what different fish, seafood, chicken, steak, those kinds of things are going to be for you. So chicken breast, 3 to 4 ounces of chicken breast is 28 grams of protein under only 140 calories. This is a really big deal, okay? I personally can eat like 6 to 8 ounces of chicken easily, whether it's chicken breast by itself, whether it's cut up chicken breast thrown on a salad, whether it's in a wrap, whether it is a chicken leg and thigh, which are my favorite because I like dark meat and I like white meat. Your white meat is going to be your leanest protein, okay, which means less calories. Dark meat like a leg and a thigh and a wing are going to be they're going to be a little more calories because they're dark meat, which means they're a little fattier. Okay, so it doesn't change really, doesn't mean like less protein. It just means there's a little more calories and a little more fat in your dark meat. Okay, so eggs, 3 ounces of eggs. Really, what I want to break this down for you is 1 egg, 1 medium to large egg is only 6 grams of protein. Okay, to let you know, the egg white is the protein and the egg yolk is going to be the fat. Okay, it's fat. So if you're really shooting for low cal, then you could do egg whites only. If you're doing our meal plan, it's calling for the whole egg most of the time. When I do eggs, I most of the time do the whole egg. If I'm eating like boiled eggs and that sort of thing. But if I am scrambling eggs, a lot of times I will do 2 egg whites and 1 whole egg so I can get all that extra protein for a quarter of the calories. Okay, so it's just something to think about. Ham has all these are 3 ounces. You can see they bounce anywhere from that, like I said, 14, 15, 16 grams of protein all the way up to 28. So some of them give you a bigger bang for your buck than others. The more protein you consume, meaning grams of protein, just the better your body responds when it comes to blood sugars. Okay, so I do canned tuna. I do canned chicken. I always try to get them in water. I want them as clean as possible. Those are things that I keep on hand all the time. I have boiled eggs in my fridge all the time. So usually at the beginning of the week, like on Sunday afternoon or Monday morning, I'm boiling 6, 7, 8 eggs. Sometimes I'm also making scrambled eggs, enough for 2 or 3 days, divvying them up. I've always got something egg-wise in my fridge ready to grab. Okay, so those are really positive. Tuna, canned tuna packets. You can throw them in, and well as chicken. Egg, you can do egg salad, tuna salad, chicken salad, throw it in a wrap, throw it in a lettuce wrap, eat it by itself with some good healthy natural crackers, any of those kinds of things. You can cook up turkey breasts. I do rotisserie chicken a lot. So like usually once a week or every other week, I am baking a chicken. And then I'm slicing that up because those are my lunches. Sometimes it's dinner. Yesterday after church, I had a big Cobb salad with sliced up chicken breast with eggs and tomatoes and cucumbers and spring mix. It was amazing. Have those kinds of things on hand that you can do, okay? Animal, fish, eggs are always going to be your biggest bangs for your buck. Now with beans, what I always tell people is this. Beans do have some decent protein, but they're actually they're higher carb, okay? So I do not recommend beans, chickpeas, green peas, peanuts, and nut butter to be your protein source, especially dealing with blood sugars and diabetes. You can have these things, but these things are going to be kind of like the fillers of the cracks to get your protein content up. But when I look at beans and legumes, they're higher carb. So I consider them more of a carb than a protein, okay? Nuts and seeds. So if you're someone who doesn't eat a lot of meat, what's going to happen is you're going to start looking in other sources like beans and legumes, nuts and seeds, as well as dairy for your protein content, okay? Well, nuts and seeds and dairy are higher fat, which fat is still good for blood sugars, okay? But realistically, they're way higher calorie than what you're going to get in your animal, fish, and eggs. And when we look at the amount of protein in nuts and seeds, as well as beans and legumes compared to meat, fish, and eggs, it's about half, okay? It's about half, which means you have to eat double the amount of the food to get that 15 to 20 grams per meal. Okay. Now, when we look at this, things like almonds, cashews, chia seeds, flax seeds, pistachio, all these things in this list are healthy and amazing for you. But I recommend in my program, these are your fat sources along with peanuts, peanut butter, nut butters, those kinds of things. They're your healthy fats. Okay. But they fill in the gap to give you a little extra protein in your program. Now, when it comes to dairy, when I teach you guys in my program that are one-on-one clients how to do dairy, I recommend full fat. I really, truly do. I recommend full fat cheddar, full fat 3 or 4% cottage cheese, real Greek yogurt. I'm not doing like zero oikos. I am looking for things like that are going to actually be the full fat, okay? Because again, our goal here is when we are doing fat-free, then what ends up happening is that fat that actually blocks the absorption or slows the absorption of that sugar into your bloodstream. When you're doing low-fat, fat-free, and you're eating hardly any fats, what's going to happen is your blood sugars go up faster. But if I am going to eat with healthy fats and protein, then what's going to happen is I'm going to stay level with my blood sugars for a longer period of time and really be set up for success, okay? Now, with dairy as well, milk, I recommend 2% or whole, okay? When we start doing dairy that is not sugar-free, fat-free, low-fat and fat-free, okay? Like your yogurts, you see the zero yogurt, you see the low-fat yogurts. Fat is considered flavor. So if I am getting flavor from fat and they are pulling out the fat out of an item, what is going to end up happening is that they have to add something back into it to actually make it taste better, which means it's going to probably be sugar or a sugar-free type of sugar like Splenda, sucralose, those sort of things. Now, I know most diabetes programs are going to promote everything sugar-free, going sugar-free with a lot of stuff. And people assume that when we go sugar-free, that means like it's free for all. I can eat sugar-free salad dressings and sugar-free syrup and drink sugar-free pop and drink diet stuff, all the diet things, because I'm diabetic and it's going to be less sugar in my system. But there's two things that I want you to think about here. Number one, we're usually just switching addiction, okay? We're going from full sugar stuff to sugar-free stuff, and we're still eating crappy, okay? Now, if you're okay with that, then that's all you, okay? I personally, as your coach, I'm not okay with that because I really honestly want you guys to be able to eat cleaner, whole foods, real foods, hence why I'm giving you these meal plans and grocery plans and recipes and all these things to get you eating real food, whole food, and avoiding more of the sugar-free junky stuff. Now, again, I'm not going to tell you I never have it because I do, okay? But it doesn't take the place of whole foods and real foods and vegetables and proteins and fruits and all those kinds of things, okay? So, I don't recommend fat-free, low-fat. Now, you may be saying to me, well, Ange, like everything I hear, like if I'm eating full fat, that's going to give me high cholesterol. Or I have high cholesterol and my doctor is telling me not to eat all that stuff. Well, if you're eating the right kinds of fats like fish, tuna, salmon, you're doing nuts and seeds, avocados, healthy oils like olive oil, avocado oil. We're getting rid of all the crappy vegetable oils and canola oils and seed oils and those kinds of things. And we're not doing a ton of deep fat fried trashy food. That's the bad fats. Okay, those are the bad fats. Those are the things we want to get rid of. But you're also doing this number two. Number one is that's the issue, is the trash fats. Number two is with a lot of these things like your dairy, you're not just going to sit and eat a whole pail of Greek yogurt. Most of you can't probably do that. We're going to avoid the ones with lots of added sugar and those sort of things. I need you looking at the sugar content on your labels. What I want you to know, and I want you to write this down, is I want you to realize 5 grams of sugar equals 1 teaspoon of sugar. So if you're getting a Greek yogurt that I'm asking you to get for high protein, and it's got 15 to 20 grams of sugar per serving on your label, that's total sugar, added sugar, natural sugars. If it's got 15 to 20 grams of sugar, that's 4 teaspoons of sugar in that little tiny thing of Greek yogurt. I know we like sugar, hence we would not be in this situation and having diabetes for most of us, and we like, maybe sugar isn't your thing, but you like breads and pastas, and it's still sugar, man. It's still sugar because that's how the body's digesting it and loading it into your system for fuel, okay? But it overloads it. So be aware if you're questioning, like, she wants me to eat full fat, like what? Like, fat isn't what makes us fat. It's the wrong kinds of fats and way too freaking much of it that causes us to get fat, or as well cause high cholesterol, okay? So eat the right kinds, and we'll see, like these nuts and seeds and the right kinds of dairy. Grains, there is, now this is the one thing that kind of, especially if someone wants to go vegetarian or they're not a meat eater, they're like, hey, well, quinoa, because this is what's touted, is that quinoa is like the highest protein grain. If you look at 1/2 cup of quinoa is 4 grams of protein. You would have to eat, if you're trying to get that 15 to 20 grams, you would have to eat 1 or 2 cups of quinoa, which is actually 444 calories, to get 16 grams of protein, 444 calories, versus coming up here and eating 3 ounces of chicken breast for 140 calories and getting 28 grams of protein, doubling it almost. Okay, so I just want you to know that is an issue. So let's not use our grains and these extra food groups to get our protein in. What I want you to focus on is most of your protein comes from animal, fish, and eggs, and maybe beans once in a while, okay? You can see with fruits and vegetables have protein in them, but it's not very much, okay? And you can see those calories are going to add up in the long term. And really, even if it's not even the calories, you have to eat a ton in order to get enough protein for the day. Okay. I know there are plant-based proteins. I know there are, there's different ones out there. So let's talk what's not on this list is your protein powders, as well as your protein bars, okay? So I can't remember if I talked with you guys about this last week or not, because I talk to so many people and do so many things, but I want to share, it's worth repeating, okay? So protein bars and protein powders are absolutely okay. A lot of them have 0 sugar added, okay? Which then in turn means they're going to have like your sweeteners in them, especially ones with chocolate and the ones we love. You've got your Premier protein shakes that are already open and drink. There's a plant-based one called OWN, I believe, that you can get that they have decent amounts of protein in them, okay? Now, protein bars and protein shakes, when you are purchasing them, I want you to shoot for ones that when you look at the ingredients, there's not 20 chemicals that you cannot pronounce in them in order for you to eat. So I did purchase, or drink, eat or drink. I did purchase a box of the OWN protein shakes. They're already pre-mixed. You just open them up. And when I looked at the ingredients, it had a lot of these really like pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds and some really good, decent stuff. When I go look at other protein shakes, there's 20 chemicals that I don't know what they are, that really doesn't need to probably be in my body. Okay? So be aware of that. Secondly, when I'm working with a client one-on-one, I'm always telling them, if you're going to do a protein shake or a protein bar, I do not recommend more than one per day. I recommend one or the other as a meal replacement or a snack in the afternoon, okay? So I know people will ask me too, this is the other thing, like, well, what do you do before a workout? Like, what are you eating or drinking? Well, I just do my regular snack in the afternoon. I'm not a power lifter. I'm a almost 50-year-old woman, believe it or not. 50-year-old woman who literally doesn't do 2 hours of workouts a day. I'm not a professional workout person. I teach classes, but that's my workout, right? So don't get so caught up in I've got to bulk before I work out. And, you can, but as long as you're eating breakfast, lunch, dinner, having that snack in the mid-afternoon if you choose to, then, do it in moderation, okay? But you can have protein bars, you can have protein shakes. Just don't let it replace all your meals, because most of the time we enjoy eating. That is the problem. We were created to eat. You can't not eat. But I feel like sometimes when we're drinking a protein shake 2 or 3 times a day, what happens is we miss out on the experience of actually eating, and then we feel deprived and we go back to crappy eating, okay? So just be aware of that. But also know that they have a place in our plan as long as you feel comfortable with them, okay? So I hope that helps. Now, if you're someone who is like, well, I don't know how many grams are in things, then when you're doing protein, shoot for 3 to 4 ounces of protein at least every time you eat. 3 to 4 ounces or more. Wink, wink, wink. More, okay? All right, the next page we're going to talk about is high protein snack ideas. This is just kind of a little idea, of some things to get that protein content up. Now, you're going to see, just based on what I told you, that some of these don't meet the fulfillment of 15 to 20 grams of protein. So you can kind of take a look. These are protein-based snack ideas. But again, pick wisely, okay? Pick wisely and see what you can do with it. Lastly, shopping for clean protein, the guide to success, okay? So, when you look at this, I'm going to teach on this more next week, but, I want to say this, like, even as a health coach, I know there's good, better, and best always in any food that we're purchasing, we're eating, we're getting. And I feel like, this is my opinion, that we go with what you can afford, okay? Don't get caught up so much in things like grass-fed, 100% organic. Are they better? Absolutely, absolutely. But it doesn't mean you cannot have success with going and getting regular ground beef or getting regular, beef jerky, those kinds of things. You can do this that's why there's good, better, and best, because you got to figure out what is important to you. I could afford, if I wanted to go get all organic, probably, but I don't. Well, I don't know if I could afford all organic. I've never done it, but I'm saying I probably could if I wanted to make it a priority, but not everything is necessary to get an organic. I will be truthful with you. I know grass-fed meat is so much better for you than grain-fed. I don't like the way it tastes, so I don't buy grass-fed. I'm just going to be honest with you. I do not. Is that wrong? No. Because you know what? I want protein and I want to make sure that I'm going to enjoy eating it versus not wanting to. And so I make sure in other areas I health up as much as I can. Okay? as much as I can. So we'll talk about shopping for clean protein next week and kind of wrap up our series on what I want you to know and what is most important. But this little thought just popped in my mind too, okay, speaking about that with titles and that sort of thing. When it comes to things like on your protein-based snack ideas, I do a lot of boiled eggs, I do beef jerky, I do kind protein bars because I kind of like the sweet, but I still want some protein in there. I have a paleo protein shake that I really, really like. I've got the OWN protein because I'm dairy intolerant. I can't have dairy. So I did purchase some of those. But, when I look at mostly like your deli meats, like if I want like a snack in the afternoon, I can do rolled deli meat. I can do beef jerky, and usually I'll do it with a fruit. Okay. I can do nuts like an apple with peanut butter. I can do Greek yogurt with berries. I'm always putting my fruit serving with it just to help me out a little bit. Okay. But what I wanted to give you was one thing to think about when you're buying deli meat, beef jerky, you're buying, let's say hot dogs, brats. I love a good brat. I'm not going to lie, but they're cured. Almost every single one of them are cured, which means they have extra preservatives in them and they're very, very salty. Okay. So anything I purchase that is for my snacks that are beef jerky, deli meat, any of those kinds of things, and I eat them often because it's protein, I will go with uncured deli meat, uncured sausage, uncured bacon, uncured beef jerky. And if you Google it or type it in, like I shop at Walmart, I shop at Hy-Vee, I can type in uncured and it will pull up those options. Some of the things in your deli counter are uncured. If the person that is working there does not know, you ask them to show you the packaging. Okay. Some of it is more expensive. So again, you can pick and choose what works for you. The only thing I haven't found uncured is roast beef. And I love me some rare roast beef from Hy-Vee. So that's probably one of my things. I still order it and buy it because I love rare roast beef. But most of the time I am doing like I went in today, they didn't have it. So I bought uncured deli ham and that was okay. Okay. I buy uncured salami. I love some salami with some almond crackers because I'm grain free because I am gluten free. And so just knowing, guys, like there are options out there that you can pick and choose that are going to be better and healthier with less preservatives. And those are the things that I choose to go for versus every single thing being organic. And I do buy organic when things are in season. I will buy organic fruits and vegetables if they don't cost that much more when they're in season. But maybe you can afford to do that. Maybe that is a priority for you. Pick and choose what matters most, okay? All right. Well, that is what I've got for you. I know on here it says sample recipe for protein balls. I don't put them in there. I apologize. I just don't because I didn't. And so that was my bad. I have a VA who uploads all this stuff for me, so I don't have to do it all. So you're not going to see that in there. But if you're going to do like a protein ball recipe, you're going to want to look for something pretty clean with 5 ingredients or less. That's my advice, 5 ingredients or less, okay? All right, well, that is what I have for you guys today. I know it's like a plethora and a deluge of information that I'm giving to you, but you guys have this ability to go back and watch these over and over again. These will be deleted out of the Facebook group at the end of the month, but these will be uploaded into the portal for you to watch at all times, okay? So I hope that you guys enjoyed what you got today. If you have any questions, I will answer them. You can put them down below the video, or you can ask me in the portal where it says ask a question, okay? Those will come to me. They'll pop up in my email. So as soon as I check my email, which I do that several times throughout the day, I will pop back in and answer that for you, okay? So I hope this helps, and I will see you all next week for week 4 and our grand finale. All right. Bye.